I'm Emma, a 28-year-old fashion designer. I recently got married, and despite struggling with unfamiliar household chores, I'm enjoying newlywed life. My husband Benjamin, who is quiet but kind, was originally an employee at a client's company. He proposed after we had been dating for 3 years. Having a beautiful wedding has been a dream of mine since childhood. I was really looking forward to the ceremony. We planned to have our wedding at the Foresta wedding venue I had always admired as a child. It's a luxurious venue with a log cabin-like charming chapel in nature, a party hall, and accommodations, all exclusive for one couple per day. Its flexibility for personalized plans makes it highly popular nowadays when smaller weddings are the trend, which also makes it hard to book. I was glad I applied early. There was one more thing I was looking forward to. I designed my wedding dress, and my mom, who is skilled in sewing, made it by hand. Seeing me wanting to wear dresses as a child, she started sewing, referring to various sources, and now she's as good as a professional. It was a natural course for me, who grew up watching her happily sewing late into the night, to pursue a career in fashion design. Almost all the wedding preparations were complete, and I was looking forward to the big day. I thought post-wedding blues wouldn't affect me, except for one concern. The phone rang. I saw a name I didn't want to see, but reflexively answered. Hello? Ah, Emma! Oh no, not again. The caller was my sister-in-law, Olivia, a constant source of stress. Did you properly cancel the wedding? If you haven't yet, do it quickly. I've told you many times, I can't and won't do that. Huh? I don't approve of your marriage to my brother. It's disgusting that an old lady like you is marrying him. Just cancel it already. Click. The call ended, and I was at a loss. Olivia, a 22-year-old senior in college, is 6 years younger than my husband. With their parents having dual incomes, Benjamin often took care of young Olivia. A beautiful brotherly love. That was fine, but Olivia grew up with a severe brother complex. She loves her brother too much and sees me as an enemy. Despite us being already registered as married, she hasn't given up. Initially, I hoped we'd get along eventually, but since booking the venue, she calls me daily, hurling blatant insults. Then another notification sounded, this time a message from a friend. Hey Emma, there are weird comments on your Facebook. I quickly checked Facebook and saw 10 comments on my marriage announcement. Stuff like, this woman is a bitch. She's deceiving a kind man, the worst. I heard she dated a married man at work. All baseless slander. Of course I had no idea. What is this? Such awful content. Looking closely, all comments were from one account. Checking the profile, it read, 22 years old, active college student, loves her brother. Seeing posts about secretly taken photos of my husband, love messages to him, and resentful posts about me, his wife, I felt a chill rather than anger. I deleted the comments and closed Facebook. Olivia's actions, more terrifying than I imagined, were causing me increasing anxiety. But with our wedding approaching, I didn't want to stir up family troubles. That was a mistake. A few days later, during a work break, I checked my mobile phone and saw several missed calls from the venue. I had a bad feeling. I immediately called back. Sorry for contacting you repeatedly, but actually... I was stunned by what the planner told me. The contents are as follows. A woman had suddenly visited the venue, demanding the cancellation of our wedding. Suspicious, the planner explained that the cancellation wasn't possible without the contract holder's presence, and then asked her to leave. Enraged, the woman started insulting the venue, loudly hurled abusive words at the planner, and ended up damaging the venue's decorations, leading to police involvement. It happened on a day when Foresta Wedding was holding a bridal fair, witnessed by many, causing some couples to leave early. I'm terribly sorry. I hung up the phone with tears in my voice. With shaking hands, I called my husband. In a faint voice, he said, I'm sorry, Emma, my sister. She's at the police station now with Dad picking her up. The venue, learning the woman was our relative, had kindly refrained from filing a police report. So Olivia was released. I left work early that day and waited at home for my husband. He came home looking exhausted but apologized earnestly. "I'm truly sorry." As I watched his remorseful expression, tears welled up in my eyes. "I should have talked to you about Olivia sooner." "Did she do something to you?" "Yes, well," I calmly explained the daily phone calls and the attacks on social media, while listening intently, sometimes changing his expression. He kept bowing his head as if understanding my urge to blame him, even though he wasn't at fault. Despite everything, I still wanted to be happy with him. Later, we had a meeting with our in-laws and my parents about Olivia. "Our daughter has caused you a lot of trouble, and we are truly sorry." Watching in-laws bowing deeply, I said, "Please raise your heads, James and Scarlett. I just want Olivia herself to show true remorse." Hearing this, Olivia, looking uncomfortable, bowed her head. "I'm sorry." Do you even understand what you've done? What do you mean, I'm sorry?" As my father-in-law, red-faced, was about to lash out at Olivia, I asked calmly, "Why did you do this, Olivia?" Considering her past behavior, her actions seemed driven by more than just sisterly love. Olivia then blurted out, I wanted to be the most important person to my brother. It's unfair and wrong that he'll prioritize his wife over me." Everyone except Olivia was at a loss for words. "Because once you get married, you're going to prioritize your wife over me, right? That's sneaky and weird. Even if I catch a cold, get hungry, or want to see him, he won't come right away anymore. I don't want that." The in-laws who were listening were dumbfounded and had their mouths open, unable to say anything, and my husband turned his face to me with disgust and hung his head. My parents smiled bitterly and whispered in my ear, "What do you want to do?" Realizing Olivia's remorse was futile, I said, "Benjamin, I don't want anything to do with your sister anymore." He responded, "Okay, I understand. I'll cut ties with my sister and never meet her again. Don't contact us ever, Olivia. Is that okay, Dad?" Okay." Olivia seemed utterly surprised by her brother's decision. She screamed in shock. "Let's go home." Although true remorse wasn't achieved, the relief of having no further contact with Olivia was immense. The next day, my husband and I took a day off work to apologize to the venue about Olivia's incident. Also, I told Olivia she's not welcome at the wedding anymore, and that I would be bringing the money for the decorations she broke. Right before leaving the house, my husband was rummaging through his bag, looking troubled. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Oh, I can't find the house keys," he replied. "What?" I exclaimed. "Maybe they're at my parents' place. I'll call them later," he said. When we arrived at the venue around lunchtime as promised, a visibly uncomfortable wedding planner and a man in a suit, presumably the manager, were waiting for us at the entrance. As soon as we greeted them, they ushered us into a room at the back. I was about to apologize when Miller spoke up. "I'm terribly sorry, but we have a request. Would you consider canceling the wedding?" "Huh?" "If you listen to this, you'll understand what we're asking for." The man pulled out a voice recorder. As soon as he hit play, Olivia's voice came through. "You guys called the cops, and now my brother disowned me, you know? How are you going to take responsibility for this? Bring out that planner. It's all that ugly woman's fault. Then bring the person in charge and fire her. If you can't fire her, I'll write on social media about how you destroyed my family and ruined this venue." The man turned off the recorder, cutting off Olivia's voice. I can hardly remember what happened next. All my husband and I did was nod our heads, repeatedly saying, "Sorry." "Sorry," Miller said. "This is business interference, so we must file a complaint this time." It's not said outright, but if we cancel, it seems they'll avoid making it a criminal case. The planner, exhausted from Olivia's relentless calls, just cried without saying a word. We bowed our heads at the venue again, filled out the cancellation papers, and trudged to the parking lot. Before getting into the car, I looked back and saw the cute white chapel I'd always dreamed of since I was a kid. Something precious inside me broke. Because of Olivia, I couldn't stop the tears. I briefly thought of ignoring Olivia since we cut ties, but that wouldn't be fair to the in-laws. I had no choice but to give up. On the way home, my husband's hand, gripping mine, trembled the entire time. When we finally got home and I tried to unlock the front door, I found it was already unlocked. My husband had said he couldn't find the keys, but I was sure I had locked it properly. The shoes in the entrance were scattered and turned over. I was shocked. The cancellation of the wedding was upsetting, but now a more direct fear struck me. I heard a woman's laughter from the back room. Unable to contain his anger, my husband stormed into the house. Feeling danger, I desperately followed him.
"What are you doing?"
I was startled by my husband's uncharacteristically deep voice and stood frozen at the scene before me. There was Olivia, cutting up the wedding dress my mother made, laughing maniacally with a crazed smile. Can't wear your wedding dress, serves you right. I quietly grabbed my husband's fist and called my mother-in-law. After the in-laws arrived and took Olivia away, I hugged the ruined dress. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Following the cancellation, we faced rumors among friends, awkwardness at work, and lectures from relatives who didn't know the whole story. It was a mentally tough time for us as a couple. We moved to a distant place to escape everything, and I quit my job for a while. Yet there was a lingering dissatisfaction, a lack of closure, and my husband felt the same. Then one day, a package from my mom arrived. Inside was the wedding dress I thought had been torn to pieces. Mom. The letter attached read, "Emma, you can always make a new one. You're not that weak." It was a typical straightforward cheer from her. Thanks, Mom. I won't be held back by such things anymore. I have to be happy with my husband. After that, I started working as a freelance fashion designer, and my husband got a job in sales at our new location. It was a tough start, but it brought us closer together. After years of supporting each other and living a peaceful, happy life, one day, my husband received a call from my in-laws. It seemed Olivia is getting married, and they desperately want us to attend the family meeting. Apparently, Olivia and her fiancé want me to come along too. My husband initially refused, but then Olivia herself reached out, wanting to apologize. At first, I was furious, but part of me wanted to show her how happy I am now. Maybe Olivia really has changed. Her getting married might mean her obsessive love for my brother has shifted to her husband. After discussing it with my husband, we decided to meet Olivia at the agreed location. It's been a while. The Olivia I saw after a long time looked refined, perhaps due to her experience in the workforce, and she appeared more composed. Thank you for giving me the chance to apologize. I'm so sorry for the terrible things I did. Though I couldn't accept her apology honestly, I told her, I will never forgive what you did to us, but if you're getting married, maybe you'll understand a bit of the pain we went through. We'll attend the family meeting so as not to be a burden on your wedding, but make no mistake, we won't be at the wedding itself, and our interactions will be minimal. After hearing this, Olivia expressed her regret and left. A few weeks later, we stepped into a fancy restaurant for the family meeting. We were immediately escorted to our table, greeting Olivia, my in-laws, and the fiancé's family who had already arrived. Olivia's fiancé seemed like a decent young man, at first impression. He worked as a civil servant and appeared very steady, being 3 years older than Olivia.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jackson, the fiancé, he said. I've been looking forward to meeting you, as Olivia often talks about her brother.
My husband's face stiffened for a moment, but he brushed it off, and we took our seats. Soon a lavish meal was served. As we enjoyed the exquisite food, the conversation naturally drifted to the wedding.
What kind of wedding do you want, Olivia?
Her fiancé asked. I want a luxurious wedding with an ocean view. It has to be completely private with delicious food. My wedding dress should be from a famous designer, the best there is. And then, Olivia went on about her dream wedding. My husband, seemingly displeased, put down his fork with a sigh. Was it wrong that I couldn't feel happy for Olivia? I was so infuriated.
By the way, what was your wedding like?
The unsuspecting fiancé suddenly asked. My husband and I exchanged glances. As my husband was about to speak, Olivia interjected. They didn't have enough money for a wedding. That's what she said. The fiancé, flustered, tried to console us, but his efforts felt empty. You must want to wear a wedding dress too, right? After my wedding, you could borrow mine and take some photos. I felt a surge of anger, wanting to punch that detestable face and expose everything Olivia had done, possibly ruining everything. But it was a joyous occasion, and I had to hold back. Then an unexpected opportunity came my way. Olivia's fiancé's mom, oblivious to the tense atmosphere, said, I was recently invited to my niece's wedding, and the venue was so charming. Surrounded by nature, though not by sea, it was a small, cute place. Look, she showed the fiancé her phone screen, and he was absorbed in the photo. I think it was called Foresta Wedding. Olivia exclaimed, turning pale. Oh, do you know it, Olivia? Maybe you should visit it sometime.
Yeah, Mom, I like the sound of it. What do you think, Olivia?
Yes, sure. Olivia was visibly flustered as the conversation heated up. My chance had arrived. I decided to launch my counterattack. Foresta Wedding is really fantastic. Ignoring Olivia's surprised expression, I continued. We actually wanted to have our wedding there, but it didn't work out. So if you and Jackson could have your wedding there, it would be like fulfilling our dream too. Though it felt like a stretch, I pushed the idea of Foresta Wedding, not wanting to miss this chance. The family meeting ended in time, and on the drive home, my husband and I reflected on forgiving Olivia and laughed uproariously, recalling her pale face and weird voice. A few days later, Olivia called furious. Why did you have to say that? You're just jealous of me. I apologize, but don't get cocky. Her words were as nasty as ever, unchanged from before. I calmly replied, You tried to belittle us. Who's responsible for us not having a wedding? What goes around comes around. I don't envy you at all. How can someone who hurts others so easily be happy? With that, I hung up. There was no further contact from Olivia. After some time, Olivia's fiancé contacted my husband, saying he had something important to discuss at a private restaurant. We thought he'd come alone, but he arrived with his mom and a dejected Olivia. Starting with an apology for summoning us, the fiancé began.
We recently visited Foresta Wedding, and then...
On the day they went to visit the booked venue, the receptionist ran off upon seeing Olivia's face. Soon, a man in a suit, who seemed to be the manager, came out.
Excuse me, may I ask your name?
Olivia, red-faced and frozen, didn't respond, so her fiancé nervously answered.
I'm sorry, but we cannot host Miss Olivia here. Please, you'll have to leave.
The fiancé and his mom, confused, asked Olivia for an explanation. What? I don't know anything. I wouldn't want a place like that anyway, she retorted without explaining. So they inquired with Olivia's parents. Turns out Olivia had caused a police incident at that venue before. They came to us wanting to know more.
So that's what happened. Why couldn't you just tell the truth?
My husband asked Olivia. But it would have spoiled the mood before the wedding. Yes. My husband and I couldn't help but react with astonishment. I told them everything, sparing no details. Despite Olivia's desperate looks, I couldn't forget the look of despair on the fiancé's face as I finished.
You could really do something like that?
Olivia responded, I had no choice back then. I only had my brother, but now it's different. I want to be happy with you. The fiancé let out a big sigh, as if making a decision, thanked us, and left. Olivia chased after him, trying to justify herself. We felt a rush of relief, as if our long-held grievances were finally being aired. Eventually, Olivia's engagement was called off. Ignoring her past actions, she tried to justify herself, which led to the fiancé's strong distrust. A private investigator revealed that Olivia recently sabotaged a colleague's wedding out of jealousy. Recently, Olivia had caused a scene at a colleague's wedding. Jealous of a colleague who married a wealthy man, she spread false rumors about the bride during the reception, chilling the atmosphere. The couple whose wedding was ruined are furious with Olivia and are preparing to sue her. Seeing the trouble she caused, her fiancé's parents also rejected her. During a family discussion, Olivia cried and raged, claiming she was not at fault, and accidentally injured the fiancé's mom, leading to the breakup of the engagement. Afterwards, Olivia tried to return to her former job, but was refused due to the incident at the wedding. Abandoned by her in-laws and facing a lawsuit from her former colleagues, she has become estranged from her friends. Now she's moved to a cheaper apartment and is working part-time jobs. As for my husband and me, I finally wore the wedding dress my mom made. Having dealt with Olivia, we felt ready to take those photos. Though it was just a photo shoot, we were smiling with full happiness. And then, we finally bought our dream home. Both of our careers are on track, and we decided to build our ideal house. And one more thing. Benjamin, look at this.
What? Really? I'm going to be a dad?
Today it was confirmed at the gynecologist that I am indeed pregnant. Yay! Yay! Watching my husband jump for joy, I laughed and imagined us living in our new home. It might be tough, but with a family who has overcome hardships together, I know I'll be okay. Thinking this, I opened my sewing box and started to decorate a tiny dress with needle and thread, filled with wishes for a happy life with our soon-to-arrive child.